Hello everyone. In this assignment you'll be doing what's called the Rock Skyscraper Challenge. So this is based on the movie Skyscraper from 2018, and in the movie Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is attempting to rescue his family from a newly built Hong Kong skyscraper, and the building is part of it anyways on fire, and his family is stuck above the fire. And so what he does is he's on a skyscraper, he's on a crane, and he runs and he jumps off the crane and he gets to this window right here. Now, what we're going to be doing in this assignment is you're going to be looking at this scenario and you're going to try to figure out the answer to this question. Could The Rock successfully make the jump as shown in the movie? Or were there camera tricks or CGI involved? So in other words, if this was a real scenario, based on all the physics you understand, could he make that jump? Or did they use camera tricks or CGI or something like that? So you are arguing for one or the other. You're saying, yes, he could have made the jump, or you're saying, no, it's not physically possible. The answer you pick does not matter. What I'm looking for is what background or evidence do you have to support that answer, and also what calculations do you have to support that answer. So you can answer yes, he will make it and get 100%. You can answer no, he won't make it and also get 100%. What I'm looking for is how do you support that answer. So here is the link to the video that shows the actual jump. You can use the actual video for data. So in other words, you can use the video to figure out things like how long is the crane, how far is the jump, from the point where the crane is to the point where the window is, how far is that. You can look up the skyscraper, you can look up The Rock, you can see how tall he is, because one thing you'll notice is he jumps from here, but he grabs with his hands right on the edge, because it's a movie, right? It has to be dramatic. So you have to consider that he not only jumped this way horizontally, he also fell because gravity, and his hands are what actually stopped here. So consider that as well in your calculations. So what you're going to do to start off is, after watching the video, so before you really do anything else, do you think it's possible for him to make that jump? You're just going to write yourself a little prediction. Again, this is just you getting down ideas of what do you think you're going to be arguing about. Now, observations and calculations, these sections are just to help gather data. I will sort of glance at them, but I won't actually use them for anything. So I'm looking for, or what I'm grading is below this. So here I've done a little research myself, and we have a professor. I can't pretend I know how to say his name, but that's his name right there. He is at the University of Central California. What he determined is that based on the length of the crane, a person could reach a speed of about 9 meters per second. So based on how far he ran in the video on the crane, he should be able to reach about 9 meters per second. For reference, I've given you Usain Bolt has a top recorded speed of 12.17. So if you are Usain Bolt, who is, I think, still the current world record holder, that's how fast he can go, and so they're saying a person could reach 9. Now, The Rock is, in shape, so I'm sure he could reach a good speed if he needed to. Now, you're going to review the video, and you're going to determine the angle. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. There's lots of programs you can use, and you can literally just put the protractor on your screen and use that to calculate what the angle is that he jumped off at. So that's how you're getting that data, is from the video. And then this is just the website for that calculation. So the second part is the crane in the movie is approximately 20 meters. So I've given you that. Again, that was through some little research. Using the information and rewatching the video, you are figuring out what is the approximate horizontal displacement The Rock needs to jump to make it to the window. So again, what you're looking at is, if you know the crane is, 20 meters, how far is it from here to the actual window? Now, this is just horizontally. Obviously, consider he's also dropping, but we'll get to that later. So use the video, and you can use a little bit of just, a ruler or something like that to estimate what that would be. So that would be the delta dx value. The time of the jump, you can either calculate this using the information you just determined, or you can use the video. If you use the video, you might find because it's a video, it's not perfectly timed because they're using camera angles and such. So you might want to mention that in your answer. Now, using the information calculated, determine the vertical displacement. So use that information as well as any other values you think will help in your argument. So here in these questions, I've sort of pointed you in the direction of things I think you should look for, but you can also use any other things you can think of that might help to prove your argument. I did look up Rock's height for you. He is 1.96 meters. So just to give you an idea. So once you're done all of that background information, this box here is what I'm actually grading. Now, what you're doing is using both qualitative and quantitative evidence. So as a reminder, qualitative means no numbers, quantitative means numbers. So in this one, I want both. I want you to use calculations to show me here's how far I calculated he can go, but here's how far he has to go. Therefore, yes, he could make it, no, he can't, something like that. You do have to explain where you're getting your numbers from, so don't just like write a calculation in and say, this plus this equals that, and there you go. Show me where you're, explain rather where you're getting the numbers from. That's what the qualitative part is. You're going to say, well, I determined the distance by, measuring it on the screen. I determined the time by using the video. Therefore, it might be a little inaccurate, etc., etc. And of course, I understand everything you do here is an estimate. You don't have the actual numbers, but you have hopefully really good estimates of what those numbers could be. So again, your grade is not dependent on whether you're right or wrong. It's the strength of your argument. And what you're arguing is whether or not you think he could have made the jump. So that's what I'm marking only in this section, but again, if I need to, I will kind of glance up, but please do explain where your values are coming from so I understand them. And what I'm looking for, of course, is did you include all the things? Did you consider all the things you should have considered? And are you missing anything? Or are any of your calculations incorrect? Or maybe some of your assumptions are a little too assumption-y. I don't know the word to use here. Your assumptions are just not realistic is what I'm trying to say. So please make sure that you are using reasonable ones. I've done this assignment last time I taught the course, so I have an idea of the range of values I should see. So do make sure you're somewhere in there in terms of your accuracy. So that's this assignment. This box, again, you can type this up, you can write it out, it's up to you, and then just submit it on Schoology in the assignment folder. Hopefully that answers all your questions. I am happy to look at this in advance, so if you want me to look at it before you submit it so I can give you some feedback, I'm happy to do that. Just make sure you give me enough time, so don't give it to me like an hour before the deadline and say, can you look at this? Because I might not even be awake at that time because I set the deadline to midnight. So please do make sure you are giving me this with enough time to actually look at it, give you some feedback, and then you can use that to produce the best product you can.